this doll does not need to worry about me showing you my Spanx, okay? Because you would, oh thanks, he went, because you would vomit, my darling. Because I'm 52 and I've lost my bloom. And life has kicked me in the teeth. And I eat sugar and white flour to push down my emotions, to keep from getting hooked on whiskey. Thank y'all so much for coming out tonight. Thank you. I've always loved Chattanooga because my best friend lives here, but also now I have something very special. My 22-year-old baby lives here now in Chattanooga. And she works for Make-A-Wish, East Tennessee. And you may have seen the video that Trish was talking about that's got over 15 million views, and I talk about her being mean. It's just to me. She's just mean to me, not other people. She holds it in so she can spew it out onto me. But she knows she's very sweet and very precious, and she's been backstage with me. But no, I'm not going to show you my Spanx, and you better be thankful I don't have on my Soma panties tonight. But my Spanx is like folding down over my stomach as we speak. I have my husband and my 3 grown children. I have a 25-year-old boy that's married to a darling little girl. And then I have my 22-year-old daughter, and then my 20-year-old daughter, and she's still in Knoxville with us. And so these children grew up and left me with their daddy. And he is so not fun. And so he doesn't chat. And so I'm just at home talking to myself. And we've got 2 beagles, and we miss these children so bad that we just sit and kiss them in the mouth. So I'm trying to adjust to just being with their daddy, and so I bought him tickets to go see Def Leppard and Journey. Woo! Okay, let me tell you. Have y'all been to concerts lately with old people that are older than I am? Okay, we went, and I thought, oh, we're going to have a fun date. And I said, where are we going to go out to eat? And he goes, I don't have time for that. It was on a weeknight, so he went to the Pilot and bought himself a tall boy. And I think that's what it's called, and an egg salad sandwich from the Pilot. And so I didn't get to eat, and I was so hungry. And it dawned on me at a concert, you know, when I was 20 and I'd go to a concert, I was at University of Tennessee, and so I'd go to Thompson Bowling. And I'd wear a crop top, and I didn't care about eating. I wasn't hungry, you know. I was thinking what boys were going to be there, and I had on little bitty breeches because I still had a metabolism and my thyroid was acting right. Okay. So we go to Def Leppard and Journey, and everybody there is our age. And everybody's worried about the snack bar, first of all. And I was too. And I was so hungry, and I noticed that people had big Diet Cokes, like big buckets of Diet Coke, and were sucking on those big buckets of Diet Coke while the concert was going on. And every once in a while, somebody would stand up and then they'd sit back down. He came to me in, he was in middle school or high school, and he's very spiritually mature, has always been. I didn't do it. Their daddy didn't do it. God did it. But we call him our little Billy Graham. But anywho, so he was dating a little girl, and he came home, and I said, what y'all been doing? And he said, we've been watching a movie, and we were kissing. I said, oh. That's normal. That's okay. But I said, baby, before you know it, one thing can get out of hand. You got your arm around somebody, and then you've got your hand on her leg. Things can get out of control. He looked at me like I was crazy. And he said to me, Mom, I've prayed about this. Nothing like that's going to happen. And I know he meant that. And all I could think of to myself was some of the nastiest things I ever did. Was at the Adams United Methodist Youth Fellowship. On a hayride. I don't know what it was about hay that set me on fire. I wish it did now. I could get a new purse out of that. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Youth groups. And we've all, here in the South, we've all been raised in church, Did y'all ever go to a lock-in? What little fool came up with that? Y'all know that it was some precious little woman maybe, and they were like, they were in a committee meeting, and she was like, oh gosh, y'all, we need to come up for something for all the hormonal teenagers. I know. We'll put them in the church building and lock the door and turn the lights out and leave them there all night. Maybe somebody will end up pregnant. All my children are yummy, and I'm in love with them, and I love my girls, and I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. Because he is now since married and gone off with his wife and her people. And that's what boys do. They cling to their wife. That's biblical. He said to me, Mom, she is now my immediate family. You are my extended. That's what he said to me right before they got married. And he said, Mom, that's biblical. I'm supposed to cling to my wife. And I thought, why did I show him the Bible? Well, he has always been spiritually mature. We call him our little Billy Graham. My husband and I, we didn't do it. God did it. I'm full of sin. Okay. I've been washed in the blood, but I've been a horrible, horrible person. Not too bad, but okay. So this baby has been just like an old man all of his life. Let me give you an example. He had a little girlfriend in high school, and he would go over to her house and they'd watch movies. And he came home one night and he used to tell me everything. And I said, what y'all been doing? He said, well, we've been watching television and kissing on the couch. And I said, okay, baby, okay. That's all right, that's normal. But I said, before you know it, you've got your hand on somebody's leg, your arm around, and things can get out of control. And I just say, slow it down. He looked at me like I was crazy. And he said, Mom, I've prayed about this. Nothing like that's going to happen. And I know he meant that. And all I could think of to myself was some of the nastiest things I ever did. Was at the Adams United Methodist Youth Fellowship. On a hayride. I don't know what it was about hay that set me on fire. I wish it did now. Because I could get a new purse out of that. Okay, y'all, have you ever heard of lock-in? I know everybody in here that has been from Chattanooga has probably been raised in church. Okay, I don't know who that little darling, sweet fool was that came up with the lock-in. Probably a little woman in a committee meeting. And she probably said, oh gosh, y'all, let's come up with something for all the hormonal teenagers. Let's gather them up and put them in the church building and lock the door and turn the lights out and leave them there all night. Maybe somebody will end up pregnant.
I thought especially my very first one with Paula Deen attached and Warner Brothers, it was Tom Warner and, ABC bought it before we could get out of the parking lot.
Right.
And I had a showcase at Laugh Factory, and I knew I had done well. I knew I'd done well. It was one of those things in my career where I thought I just killed that.
Yeah.
And I thought I was on top of the world, and people were calling and wanting to do interviews with me and all that. And then one day they just call and they go, "It's over. There's a writer's strike." I was like, and my husband bought me a dog, this old beagle that's laying down here snoring, to help me get through it because I was devastated. I thought that was it. And me as a comedian growing up, my idea of stardom is a sitcom. I wanted to be Ray Romano, Roseanne. That was my dream, Tim Allen. And then, so that when that ended, I was devastated. I think I went into a clinical depression.
I understand.
And then I got the second deal and thought Matt Williams had created Roseanne and Home Improvement. Nick at Night came after me.
Yeah.
They gave us money to shoot a pilot. What happened with that? Matt Williams said, Leanne, I think this is more of a kid's Disney skunk is loose in the living room kind of thing. And he goes, and I don't do that. And can you trust me? And I said, yeah. So we took it from Nick at Night. And I think it may have gone with, I say that, I don't know. And then TV Land wanted it. And then I knew the minute they said, yeah, we want it. They held on to it for 9 months. And I knew in my heart, they don't want this. They don't want it. And I don't know what they're doing, but they don't want this.
Yeah.
And I feel like I think people are, when I come out to LA and we pitch in meetings, I think people are fascinated by me. I think they think, oh, look at her, like an animal in the wild kind of, look at her. But I don't know it's just, but I know people that have had 9 deals and didn't get anything, so.
Let me tell you about this baby. We are becoming the best of friends, really, because she's now 21 years old, and she has always been a beauty and so smart and fun and hateful. Okay, so now she not to other people. She holds it in when she's in public so that she can come home and let it out on me. And that's okay, I'm her safe person. And I believe that God allows this when your children get in about, junior, senior in high school, because he knows that you're grieving, because they're gonna leave. And he knows that you're gonna take to the bed over it. So their junior and senior year, something happens. And they change on you. And they get to be the meanest people you've ever been around. So by the time they're ready to leave, you kick their crap out onto the curb. Her junior year, this started, okay, the very breath that I breathed out of my nostrils made her so angry. We were not allowed to eat cereal in our own home. Because she couldn't stand to hear us chew. And I don't mean to talk about her because she had a lot on her. She had a lot on her, like she had to empty the dishwasher. And that's a lot. I'll give you all an example. Okay, at the University of Tennessee in her sorority, these girls will come home, and I'll cook for them and do, and I'm tickled. All right, well, they like Memphis, Nashville girls. Well, a little girl came home with her and spent 2 nights. So I washed that little thing's clothes, and all I said to this little girl was, Katie, you're so tiny. Your little underwear looks like a slingshot. That little girl thought it was funny, and my baby went. So I got out of there. So when that little girl left, I came back in, I went, what's wrong with me saying that her little panties look like a slingshot? I wish somebody'd say my panties look like a slingshot. My panties look like... Have y'all ever seen Mel Gibson in Braveheart? You know when they pull that big ball out and that thing looks like it's a catapult. They pull that big ball, fling it and kill a bunch of children with it. That's what my panties look like. Do y'all know who owns Victoria's Secret? I used to buy my panties at Victoria's Secret, but they started cutting me in two. All right. Do y'all know who owns it? Satan. Okay, so